then you hit type commit. Hi guys, what's up? This is Mac from the Wi-Fi Ninjas, and today I wanted to pick up where we left off in our previous video, that was Junos OS configuration basics part 1. So we have learned the concept of groups, the concept of making configuration changes and having to commit them to the switch configuration before they take effect. We have discussed the CLI operational and configuration modes, and finally we have discussed groups, how they can simplify our configuration on Junos OS switch. And today I just wanted to build on top of the knowledge that we already have. So if you haven't watched the previous videos, or you don't know how to access mismanaged Junos OS Juniper switch, or you don't know how to add Junos OS Juniper switch to the MIST dashboard, go back to our previous videos and we have discussed all of that there before. So I would like to start with understanding more about the commitment of changes to the switch. We have discussed just a basic commit command in a CLI. So you make some changes, then you hit type commit, and it commits the changes to the switch. So the switch puts it in the running configuration and it takes effect. But there are different types of commitment capabilities of a switch. So let's take a look at my MIST dashboard and my switch, Wi-Fi Ninja switch, and I have some ports configured there, port configs, port profiles. I have some networks, which is VLANs, but I just want to make a simple change where currently I have access point ports being configured with AP port profile for ports GE002 through 009, and I want to have all of them from 0 to 9 being configured as AP ports. So I will confirm that change and save the config, and now I will go back to the terminal. So I want to show you that. So this should appear in the terminal in a sec. Commit confirmed will be rolled back in 10 minutes. So when I first saw that, I freaked out. I was thinking like, oh my God, what is going to happen? What is this countdown? Is it the countdown to doom, to like, I don't know, rebooting my switch? Am I going to lose network connectivity? Both, me and my wife, we are at work. What's that? And this, it just by the way appeared. Commit confirmed will be rolled back in 10 minutes is just the fail-safe mechanism that MIST is using when it manages Juniper switches through the dashboard. And what it does is, like, when I type commit and hit question mark, you can see that there is more types of commit than just commit. I could hit enter and, so make any configuration change and hit enter, but I have more options. And here, what MIST is using is commit confirmed, automatically rollback if not confirmed. And try to imagine that you are making some changes to your AP port, but by mistake you have put in a range a port that is your uplink, okay? And you've broken the connectivity to the switch completely. So what MIST would do is it would push down the configuration, then the switch will apply this configuration, and if the switch doesn't hear back from MIST within 10 minutes, it will software roll back to the last known configuration, which will, it will restore the connectivity to the switch, initial, connectivity to the switch, because it rolled back to from before the change. And that's just that. So if you commit confirm, you have to go back to the switch after the change is made, and then you have to type commit or commit check to confirm that you still have connectivity to that switch. So that was one thing. Then you have commit and quick. So let's say I've made some changes and I hit commit In order to go back to my operational mode, I will have to, type exit or something. If I just do commit and quit, it will just leave the configuration mode for me after committing the changes. Okay, and there is like a very important command, especially when you are working with mismanaged Juniper switch for commitment of changes. It's commit check. Commit check. So if I hit that, nothing will happen here because I haven't added any configuration to the switch that is not committed. But if I had the configuration on the switch, it would have checked against the logical suitability for the config of my new configuration. So if it makes sense what I'm doing, it does some logical tests, and if they are successful, it will tell me that configuration check succeeds, but it will not apply the config to the switch at this point yet. So I've just checked if the config I'm about to commit to the switch is all right. And if it is, then I will just take that config, the exact commands, and I will use mist dashboard for my mist managed switch to push the config down to the switch. I don't want to make any changes via CLI for mist managed switches, because if you have a mist managed switch, you should be using just mist to configure your switch. I've learned it the hard way, so I've done like an initial configuration of mist switch, and then I've added some custom, like more advanced, DHCP layer 3 interfaces type of things, configuration via CLI. And what happened a few days later, Mist Dashboard has overwritten my configuration on the switch, understandably, and I've lost connectivity on my switch and I had a network outage. So don't do that. It's either CLI or Mist Dashboard, nothing in between. You can also use APIs, but we will discuss that later. So for now, it's just the commit confirmed, and commit check. And commit check is great for checking commands. Like I will show you right now. Let's say that I want to configure something through Mist Dashboard, but I'm not 100% sure if the syntax is fine or if the switch is going to like my command. So I want to, let's say, add a description to one of my interfaces. As always, I will start with set. Then what do I want to set? Interfaces. Then I need to specify which interface I want to modify. Let's say number 2, because why not? And then I want to set description, and I will call it Wi-Fi Ninjas with exclamation mark at the end. And that should set the description after I commit the change. So this configuration line, it sits on the switch, but it does nothing yet. If I exit from here and don't commit changes, and if I exit from here and say yes, that I don't want to commit changes, and do show configuration and find 002. We will discuss piping in a sec. Nothing is there. I don't have any description set here. So nothing has changed. Control-C out of the loop, config again, and let me set the description again. So it sits there, but it's not committed. And I just wanted to see if the switch is going to like my change. Instead of committing it, I will just do commit check. Okay, so switch is checking if the config is fine. And it will come back to me then that with, of course it's fine, excellent. At which point I will just, copy that command and I will put it in my Wi-Fi Ninja switch, additional CLI commands, like, another one. Sorry, it's like I didn't copy it, but you get the idea. I copy that and I put it in additional CLI commands here. And then Ricard has configured the description of my interface 000. I've added different description for 002. And that's basically how it works. So I've checked that this is going to work on the switch. But now I want to get rid of that command on the switch. With one command, it's fine. I can use, delete and get rid of that command. But what if I had 100 different commands? I'm not going to delete them all one by one. So I will use a concept of rollbacks. It's an amazing concept on Junos OS. It allows you to go back in time with your configuration So let's see how it works. I will type rollback and hit question mark, and it can roll back my configuration to several days back. It's like I was playing around with the switch quite frequently recently, and you can see what I can roll back to. And by the way, rollback 0, it rolls back all the configuration to the startup config, to the running config, rather. So if you configure some commands on Junos and don't commit them yet, you can always roll them back with just rollback 0 command. As easy as that. So I have one description, this one set interface 002 description Wi-Fi ninjas, being sitting on a switch without being committed yet, and I could roll that back with rollback 0. But let's assume that I have more commands like that, and I've lost my track of what I have configured, what I haven't configured. I want to see what's there, sitting on the switch, waiting for me to commit the change. But I just wanted to double check if everything I wanted to configure is configured. So what I can do show, and I can pipe that to compare. And here I compare. You can see that you can compare different rollbacks to your running configuration. Okay, so I will do rollback 0. So show, compare, rollback 0. If I've done that, I would remove the description Wi-Fi ninjas exclamation mark that I've added to the switch but haven't committed from the switch. So let's do that. Rollback 0, and then I don't even have to type commit here yet, but let's exit to the operational mode and see what we see there. Commit complete, exit, and show configuration and find 002. And there we go. There is no Wi-Fi Ninja description in there, and I managed to escape, to exit from the configuration mode without the switch complaining that I have uncommitted changes. So rollback has removed all uncommitted changes, rollback 0. If I wanted to go back in time more than just uncommitted changes, I would have to use rollback 1 or rollback 2. And the really amazing thing about that is I've Control-C from the loop. I go back to configure and go to show, compare, rollback. I can see what different rollbacks would bring me back to. So rollback 1, nothing. Let's try rollback, I don't know, 15. So rollback 15, it would add some commands here to the switch. It will remove some commands there. So this gives me like a full list of changes of what my switch would have done to the configuration if I rolled back to rollback 15. So that's the rollback, very important concept. So you want to add some commands to additional CLI field in your Mist dashboard, this one here. Before you do that, you want to validate your syntax and logical suitability by configuring on the switch, doing commit, check, and then rolling it back, and then applying this configs to the Mist dashboard additional CLI commands field. That's how it works. And lastly, the last thing that I would like to talk about is just more advanced viewing of the configuration of the Juniper switch. So let's say that I wanted to set my interface GE0/0/ let's go for 3 this time, description to test with a smiley face. Syntax error. It doesn't like my smiley face. Does it like that smiley face? There we go. Amazing. And then I want to show, compare, rollback 0. We can see that I've added description test with a smiley thing at the end. If I committed a change, that's what would have been saved. But I won't do that. So that's it pretty much. Last concept, more advanced viewing of the configuration. So enough of the review. We've beaten it to death now. Let's say I want to show you my configuration. So you see the groups. That's what I want to show you. So groups, and inside groups I have some mist script that mist has pushed down. But when I continue scrolling down, you will see that there is an AP group, IoT group. You know, it should sound familiar because that's exactly what my ports in Juniper Mist dashboard are configured as: IoT, AP, AppLink. So going back to the dash, look at that. That's exactly that. That's my port profiles. That's AP, IoT, AppLink. So AP is configured as management 10, trunk, edge, and then IoT is access port with on VLAN 21. And that's exactly what I see here. But when I continue scrolling down, I won't see that configuration. Let's say AppLink native VLAN 10 trunk with all VLANs allowed down on my interfaces level. I won't see that. So look, there is just the custom bit that Ricard has configured on my dashboard, the description, but then nothing here, you know, no AP ports, no IoT ports, no app links, nothing. It's just empty configuration of ports. But when I scroll up, you can see that there are AP, where are the groups? There we go. Interface range, AP, IoT, and AppLink. They are apply group AP to the range of interfaces from 000 to 9. Make it AP. So apply group called AP. Then apply group called IoT to interface 10. Then apply group called AppLink to interface 11. And that starts to make sense, right? Because I have 9 interfaces or 10 interfaces configured as AP ports, and I don't have to type under every interface, you know, this is the trunk, native 10, allowed all, edge. I don't have to do that. I configured it once and applied it to a range of interfaces. But if you have never seen this switch before, this configuration, you've never worked with it before, you're reviewing a configuration of someone else's, you know, work, you go to you know, interfaces configuration and you see nothing there, but there is a configuration under these ports logically, just not done like you normally would under the port configuration. It's just an AP group, well, just a group applied that makes it an AP port. So what if I wanted to see the full configuration, including the groups? Let's give it a go. So I will exit the config mode, and I want to, let's say, show interfaces GE002, let's say. Actually, let me do it in the configure mode. Show interfaces GE002. We can see that there is nothing there. Okay, so check the configuration of GE002 and there is nothing there. But there is, we know, there is a group applied under this interface. If I pipe that to display, and there are multiple things that I can display here, but let's say display inheritance, show inherited configuration data and source group. That's exactly what I want. So inheritance, and hit enter. I will see that my interface now has all that configuration here. Like, you know, it is a trunk, it has a VLAN config members all, and it even tells me where it was inherited from. But if I had tons of data with inherited data, it will have quite a lot of comments there, and I probably don't want to see them all, not all the time. I have this option. I can type display inheritance no comments after the pipe. So when I do that, it gives me a full configuration of a port without any inherited stuff. Okay. Another thing, as you can see, the Junos configuration is being displayed in hierarchical mode. So you will see this curly brackets, you will see different hierarchy configuration structure. It's fine for most of us, but for those people that are coming from Cisco world, it looks funny. If it's your thing and you just don't like this, hierarchical view, you can still see the configuration using view of set commands that have been used to configure your switch. So to do that, we can just go back to the interface config and display, let's say, set. So this is the command that was used to configure this interface. If I just do show, so everything, and display set, it gives me all the switch configuration with what would be the syntax of the set commands that are used to configure this switch. If I do just show, it gives me XML hierarchical view. Okay, Control C out of the loop. And now some discussion about the output manipulation. So let's say that I wanted to see all my interfaces. Show actually, I will have to go back from the configuration mode. So let's go back to the operational mode, exit, and now show interfaces. There we go. It's thinking quite a lot of interfaces. I'm not interested in all of them, so probably I would just like to see the interfaces that start with GE. So I don't have any system interfaces in there that I might not care about too much. So let's do up arrow and then pipe that to match. So it will display all the results matching something that I type here. So I just want to see a gigabit Ethernet interfaces here. And when I hit enter, that's all I can see. Now let's say that I just want to see my real interfaces, not their configuration. So I want to just exclude everything with I don't know, like a switch in its name, but still have just GE. So I can match GE, and then I can do except switch. Okay, so now it shows me all the interfaces that are gigabit Ethernet without any lines that contain switch in it. And now let's try to imagine that I'm plugging something in and I want to be constantly checking the status of the interface. I can pipe that to refresh and make it refresh in seconds from 1 to 60, not 600,000 seconds, whatever it is. It's quite a lot. So every second, refresh that output, and it does it for me automatically. Okay, I will stop that. And this is pretty much everything that I wanted to talk to you about today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and thank you very much. I will see you in the next video.